Well, turning to politics now, where the Republican race in Iowa has turned into a dead heat. The CBS News Battleground Tracker shows Donald Trump and Dr. Ben Carson are tied. They are at 27% each. This is the third Iowa poll showing Carson either tied or beating Trump.
Carson's momentum comes as Trump faces criticism for what he said about Carson's religion. Our Nancy Cortez is following the race from Washington.
I'm Presbyterian. Can you believe it? Nobody believes I'm Presbyterian.
Trump wasn't asked about Carson's faith in Jacksonville. He just brought it up.
I mean, Seventh-day Adventist, I don't know about.
Carson called on Trump to apologize. On Face the Nation, Trump said there was nothing to apologize for.
That wasn't meant to be an insult, obviously. It's just that I don't know about it.
Okay, so an expression of ignorance, not raising questions about it.
Well, it's a harsh way of putting it, but perhaps I could say it that way, yes.
It wasn't the only sign that the new Iowa frontrunner has gotten under Trump's skin.
I don't think Carson's going to negotiate really well with China.
I've had a great relationship with Christianity, and frankly, I would say every bit as good as his.
Ben Carson is super low energy, right?
Dr. Carson's response?
I'm not sure that there's anybody else running who's spent 18 or 20 hours intently operating on somebody.
The tenor of the GOP primary left former Florida Governor Jeb Bush, whose listing campaign was forced to make major cutbacks, sounding like he wants out.
I got a lot of really cool things that I could do other than sit around being miserable, listening to people demonize me and me feeling compelled to demonize them.
Nancy Cortez joins us from Washington. Nancy, great to see you. This is the third poll recently to show Carson either tied or beating Donald Trump in Iowa. What's behind the surge?
Well, that's a great question. That's a question that Trump has been asking himself on the campaign trail. What's going on? He says, I go to Iowa more than Ben Carson. They love me there. And he's very frustrated by the fact that Carson appears to be overtaking him. I think probably it has to do with the fact that Iowa has a very large evangelical voter base, and they are gravitating to Ben Carson, who talks a lot about his faith, who's very open about his faith. And so they're clearly feeling some kinship with him. Typically, in every caucus season, we see that the evangelicals in Iowa tend to gravitate to one particular candidate. And in this case, at least for right now, it looks like that candidate is Ben Carson.
So another interesting number out of Iowa, 56% of Iowans say that they would not be satisfied if Trump won the nomination. What do you make of that number?
Well, it's a problem if he does win the nomination because it shows that there are a lot of Republicans out there who really aren't thrilled about him. And when that happens, you see that a lot of them are unenthusiastic about his candidacy, and they tend to stay home on Election Day. So, you know, if the Democratic candidate turns out to be someone, for example, who Democratic voters are very excited about, if they show up in large numbers and Republicans don't, then you could see where that would lead.
Nancy Cortez in Washington. Thank you, Nancy.
You're welcome.